management is gonna kill me for this one, but it's not even released yet. It is somewhere online, like people throw it online already, but I thought this is maybe the best example that you can see how I work with other songwriters and singers in the studio. This track is called Make You Mine. Didn't release it yet, probably gonna be released in December or January. Now we're waiting for the USB.
It's okay. While you're waiting for a USB, you can maybe tell us that how this project came, to life. From zero, how the idea came, and how did you build it? What's the idea you really want to capture with this?
So this track, we wrote it in Stockholm, and it was together with Maya and Moa, and they're super talented. And yeah, thanks. And we kind of started this session with we don't even know what we're gonna make, and that's 99% of the time that's the way it goes. Like we go in a session and they ask me like, hey, do you have any projects that you want to show, or do you have anything we should write on? I'm like, yeah. Maybe it's always the best to start from scratch, because then we can all like get our input in there, and that's what happened with this one as well. I just started with some chords, and they came up with like this small melody, and I thought it was cool. So then we worked it out, and within a day already had like kind of half of the track.
Nice. It looks like a pretty full
built
track already.
And I can already apologize. I work really like messy. I'm already learning a bit more to stack things and to make sure that it's all like nicely organized. But this one is still a bit messy. So in case you don't know the track, I can show a bit. I don't know if there's sound. That's a small part of the track. So yeah, we wrote this one together in Stockholm, and as you can see, I still left the whole, like all the vocals in here. These are all like the takes we did over there, and I always like to keep them in the project. Don't bounce them, because then it's always difficult to find. Like if you want to change something, you have to go all the way back to the other project. Yeah, this was a cool process, because there are so many instruments involved. And I don't know what you guys want to see. Like, do you want to see how I process the vocals? I'm not sure if I can really show you the original takes, because I don't know if Maya really likes that. But if you want to see, like, I don't know, how I made the piano part, or maybe the drop, or the bass line, or the chords, it's up to you. What? Vocals? Okay.
Let's take a vote. I think I heard both, drop and vocals. Who wants to do vocals? Okay. Who wants to do drop? Sorry, vocals. Drop.
Let's do the vocals.
We can go back to it later, though.
Yeah, no. Yeah, okay, let's do the drop. So, couple of layers here. This is the top lead. So for this session, I just made a couple of folders here, which makes it easier for you guys. So these are all, this is the top lead. So I'll put it to this bus. This is, I always try to separate it. So my top lead goes to one bus, so one like aux output, I don't know how you call it. My chords go to one bus and my bass also go to one bus. So I can separate them and give them different sidechain, different compression. This is gonna be really for the nerds. I don't know how many nerds are in there. And so that makes it easy because then you can really have an overview of how your mix is and what's like the volumes and if the chords are too high in volume or the bass is too low. So that's easier for your mix down. And yeah, I use a lot of Silent. Avenger is a really cool plugin as well. Silent, Sim Master. Let's see. So I think this is one of the main leads which really like drags every other lead with it, and I use this one a lot. I have all my like a lot of presets here that I just save during my sessions when I produce music.
Ja.
There.
De namen zijn sterk, Mike.
What's in there?
Dikke layer.
We like the names.
Yeah, so yeah, some really weird names as well. And so I just stack them. I think all these things play the same notes, except for this one. So, yeah, this one plays like a harmonic note, so together. Which gives a bit more atmosphere. So as you can see, I always try to keep the notes really short in the drop, which helps to give it a bit more groove, a bit more energy. And one trick I learned is sometimes it's really nice to give it a bit more reverb, so the whole, like the top lead, sounds a bit messy. But then I cut the volume. So the reverb, I can just manipulate the reverb with the volume. So suddenly it gets a bit more like smaller, like how do you call it? Like
It's cleaner.
it's cleaner.
Yes.
Yeah, it's.
No, I think one of the biggest challenge of using reverb, especially with vocals, that you want it to sound really airy, is that it gets muddled up in the mix when you want it to be super punchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like sometimes when you solo a certain thing in your track, it sounds really cool and there's a lot of reverb on it, but then when you hear it with everything, it's just too messy and too much reverb. But there are tricks for it, like this, like manipulating the whole reverb thing. So this gives it a lot of energy. Let's see, does anyone want to see more about the top lead, like more like the presets, or should I just go?
Do you usually start with one layer and then
Yeah.
you have the drums and then you come back and sound design it more, or do you usually like, I'm making the lead, let's make a few more layers?
Yeah, I usually start with the lead and then stack it till I have like the right sound.
Okay.
If I already have the right, if I know this is gonna be the melody, then I'm gonna stack it and make sure the top lead is really fat and I'm happy with it. At the same time, I start putting in the chords. So here you have the chords. So you can hear it's a piano and it's a synthesizer. This is the piano, 3 pianos. It's really cool, sounds good. And just a silent one. Just made it from an init thing, because Doesn't have to. It just needs a bit of like crush and a bit of high frequencies to add for the piano. So together it sounds quite good. And then we have the bass line, which is so here we have the sub. And I use this plugin for pretty much every track. It's the R bass from Waves, and it gives so much more power to the sub. I don't know what it does. It gives, it just boosts a couple of frequencies, and that really helps. And then together, I always try to layer it with some with some bass lines. But then I cut out, of course, the low frequencies to give a bit more room to the sub. So this is Avenger. I think this is with a bit like vocal kind of bass. This one. Sometimes a bit crusher gives this like crush in your mix. You can hear it a bit, and it sounds cool as well. It's pretty straightforward, and also the chords and the bass, I just put it in one bus here together, because I already made sure that that the equalizer was good, so I filtered some ends here, and then together it goes to the bus, and it goes through the same sidechain, because that's really important. Because if you have different sidechains, for the bass, I want to sometimes have a different sidechain, maybe a bit longer, but for the chords and for the top lead, you need like a short. I really use a really short one like this. So that's basically how I build my track, and then it's just a matter of adding a lot of effects. Tonal effects always really work, and I put them in one folder. Let's see. There are somewhere.
Usually, how many tracks do you have in a song, like or in a?
Yeah, like this one is
100.
on 58. So it could be more, it could be less. It depends. Like every track is different.
Nice.
So yeah.
So do we still want to look into vocals, or do we have any questions so far? So vocals?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh, I think there's a question there.
Oh, there's a question there. Yes.
Hey.
Hey.
Check. Yeah. Hi, my name is Ryan. Teacher name is Aeronautic.
Nice.
Yeah, you were talking about the bass, and you said that you cut out low frequency from the bass,
Yeah.
which are not sub basses. So you only leave the sub basses inside.
Yeah.
So it sounds like wider or something for that reason.
Yeah. So I have one sub bass, and then in this case I have 3 others to just make it really fat. But I don't want the really low end in there, because it's just gonna make it a bit more messy. Because you already have one sub, but I don't cut out the whole low frequency. You can see here it's just only this part, and from here you need that mid-low section, because otherwise it's gonna sound really empty. But it just gives it just makes it a bit more powerful, a bit more aggressive. So yeah, if that answers your question.
Do we have any other questions? Okay, we have someone over there. Yeah, it's you.
Hi, I'm Chris.
Hi.
What do you use for sidechaining? Like, do you use kick or do you link it to a compressor? Because I'm using Logic 2 and it's a little bit more complicated there.
Yeah. So I use LFO tool. Because I started in FL Studio actually, and of course you have growth speed, and growth speed, and that's like a perfect plugin. But in Logic it's quite difficult because of course you can do it with compression, but I feel like I can't really nail it. Like I can't really I really want to draw it, and so I use LFO tool, and it's just kind of the same as growth speed. Yeah.
You mind showing us how?
Yeah, of course. So for example on the top lead here. So you can hear it's quite short, because in most tracks it's kind of like this. And yeah, you can hear it in the mix down here. It kind of, in my opinion, it kind of, yeah, I don't know, loses power. So I'd rather have it really, so the first part of the kick, like really the click, then it's gone, but then right after it already comes up. And I feel like it gives a bit more energy. But then for the, if I'm right, this one is a bit, oh, it's not longer. Well, sometimes I make this a bit longer, because I want to have the bass to be a bit more dragged out. As we call it in the Netherlands, make je uitsmeren. Is dat die wat?
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah. Cool.
Great. Oh, one up front.
Thanks. Hi, my name's Simon. I'm just interested when you go into production, or when you have this initial idea, when you go into the production, do you also think about the mix already, or does that come afterwards when you actually sit in the studio and like develop the track?
I try to not think about it, but I already know, like when I'm working on it, I always want to already make it sound good. So I already put something on my master, and I know there are a lot of people saying, yeah, you should wait till the end. But I already put a compressor on it and some things to make it sounds a bit better. Yeah, so I'm actually already working on the mix a bit, all the way from the beginning, because then you can already hear if it's gonna sound good or bad, because I rather notice it early that I'm like, it doesn't really sound cool, so I'm not gonna work on it anymore. Then I find out at the end that's just a shit track. So, yeah.
This one. Oh, okay. We'll go in the front and then one in the back.
Hi Mike, my name's Exit.
Hi.
I was wondering, how do you manage to have a good dynamic with the kick and the bass to really pop through the mix? Do you have tricks, tips?
Let me think. I mean, I think it's important. In my case, I use a really short kick. This one is really short. It's actually a kick from Kirby. And I even sometimes I even cut it even more. Because then you have a bit more room for your bass line. Because if you have quite a long kick with a long tail, it's gonna really interfere with your bass line. And so sometimes I don't even need to know in which key the kick is, because it's so short it doesn't even matter. It's just a click. But if you make it punchy enough, like sometimes I put this, let me see, Transgressor is a really cool plugin. Yeah, and I'll make it stereo, but just be mono. But, and you can really push it, so it's really short, but it's really like punchy. So you can, it makes a difference between the high end and the low end. So as you can hear the kick here. So this is only the low end, almost. And this is only the top kick. So you can boost them separate. So you can change frequencies, give a bit more mid end, And then together with the bass line, it's just a matter of good sidechain. Make sure your sub is also mono, and there are many other tricks, but that's the basic.
Thank you.
Nice.
problem.
I think we have the guy in the red shirt who wants to ask a question.
Hi. Which EQs do you use for which reasons? Which tracks do you, sometimes you use the Logic EQ, sometimes other EQs?
Yeah. So I always the first thing I tap, because here you can really easily go to the equalizer of Logic. But I like the one from Fat Filter. It's way better. So, but this is just because I'm lazy and just click there. And then later I found out, maybe I just use the other one. I prefer the one from Fat Filter. Yeah.
Pro Q?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Oh, we have one right over there.
Yeah, there, and here's one as well.
Hi. Could you show us the tonal effects?
Yeah. Let's see. I made a folder here. Piano break. Chords. Yeah? He's going too fast. Oh, here. Thanks. Yeah. So these are all tonal effects. I'm not sure if they're all in here, but yeah, this is the typical Mike Williams. I just call it wah. I just exported it once and just call it wah, and I can throw it in every track I want. This really helps to give it a bit more energy, a bit more dynamic, a bit more different sounds. Because then you only, if you don't have this, you only hear the synths and the melody, and that's it. It's just too straightforward. And I think there are many other plugins here. I can just, sorry, sounds. I can just mute all this, and maybe you can hear what's left. Yeah, not sure why this is not here. Yeah, maybe we can go to the vocal for a short bit. So here's the whole vocal thing. There's a huge chain on here with a lot of compressors, a lot of reverb, echo, imager. RFox is a really cool, good compressor. Sound shifter, because I shifted everything one up, one semitone. This one is a really good plugin from Waves as well. Pro Q again. So I actually have two equalizers on here, not sure why. And the vocal synth, which gives a really cool vocoder. See. And then together with the vocal, it just sounds really thick. So that's the basics.
Which one was the vocoder?
A vocal synth
Vocal
too.
synth.
Oh yeah, okay.
Do you use the talkbox or? Ah, nice.
Yeah, you can see right
Yeah.
there. It's just a vocoder. You can do like many weird stuff with this.
Vocal synth is the best. But
Yeah,
it also uses up a lot of like CPU power.
Oh,
if
yeah,
you plan to
definitely.
perform with it.
Yeah, you can already hear it was a bit laggy.
Yeah. All right, so we have 3 more minutes. We probably can take most 2 more questions. So
Cool.
you want to ask 70 more questions. Okay, cool. So we have this guy in the front here. Yeah, it's you.
First one asking if is everything done in the box, or do you use also hardware?
You mean if it's only software?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I just bought a piano. That's basically it, and everything's in here.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. That guy raised his hand first earlier. Yeah, you. Yes, you. Yeah.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask you if you do your effects on the vocals on a separate bus to like give them a change with EQing or something, I don't know.
Yeah, you mean like with the reverb, like sending it out?
For example, yeah.
So I think that's the best way. So you make a bus with where you send all the vocals to, so they all sound the same, and then from that bus I send some reverbs out and some echoes, and then what I do is I just play the whole vocal, and then at the parts that I want to have it have more echo, or when she like stops singing and you want to keep it a bit going, like with reverb or echo, I just manually like boost it. So you put this on touch or latch or right, and it just does everything what you do with the knob. And then later you can like really finalize it, and it sounds pretty cool. But it's the best way is indeed to send it out to a bus.
Yeah, and then maybe automated like.
Exactly, yeah, with the automation. And then you can equalize your reverb and your echo, so the echo sounds cool, because sometimes you don't want to have all the high end or the low end. So yeah, that makes it easier.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Nice. I know a lot of you still have questions, but we're out of time.
Okay.
So if they want, maybe if you might be able to catch him before he leaves. So
maybe. Yeah.
So yeah, guys, once again, thank you, Mike Williams. Thank you so much for sharing.